Hey everyone, in this lesson I'm going to walk you through some basics on command line navigation, as well as go through a little bit on absolute and relative paths and things like that. I'm also going to show you how to SSH into your Vagrant virtual machine. If you haven't gone through the written portion of this post, go ahead and do that now and then come back to this, and maybe this will help you get clear on some of the things we talk about in the article. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your command line application. On Mac, that's Terminal. As you can see, I have that pinned down here to my taskbar. But just in case you don't know, go into Finder, down here into Utilities, inside the Applications, and open up Terminal here. Okay. Now mine may look a little different than yours. I have some other software installed that runs inside this that makes this a little more user-friendly in my opinion, but either way it'll work just the same. So go ahead and get this open and we're going to start running some commands. Okay, so let's start off with who am I? And this will print out your username for your computer. You can see my username here by the house. This is for some of you who may not understand exactly what's going on. What we're doing here is exactly the same as navigating your computer through Finder. So right now you see we're in this tilde location. You may not even know what that means yet, but you'll see in a second. So if we go to Finder, you can see here that here's my username with the house symbol, and then here we have all these folders: applications, books, documents, so on and so forth. Pretty normal setup. We can see those inside of the command line by typing ls, and you'll see all that stuff printed out. So the way you should interpret this as is that we are actually inside the folder the same way that you would be if you're navigating with Finder or Windows Explorer. So the next question is, how do we navigate? Because you can't click on this stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is this command cd. Now we need to type cd, which stands for change directory, and then we need to give it a path. And there's two different types of paths we can give it, as I explained in the article. You can give it an absolute path or a relative path. And I'm going to show you how to do both. So first of all, let me show you a relative path. So here we can do cd documents, and it's going to change down into the documents folder. Now, a relative path is a location that is interpreted relative to where you currently are in the computer. So by default, the computer knows in the command line that if you just give it a word, it looks inside the directory that you're currently in. So we were in the home directory, so it looks in the home directory for a documents folder and tries to change into it. We can also give it an absolute path. So we're currently in the documents folder, so if I wanted to change back into the home directory, I can give it a absolute path, which is just cd tilde. Now, tilde represents the home directory, which you can consider an absolute path because it's an exact location. A couple of important things with respect to relative paths. So we have this concept of dot and double dot, or however you want to say it. So if I do cd dot, it won't go anywhere. It stands for the current directory. And what that's useful for is cd dot slash and then whatever. And so that's actually a relative path. It says start where I am and then jump down to whatever I tell you. And actually cd, let me go back into the home directory. If I do cd documents, that's the same thing as cd dot slash documents. Another good command is clear. It just clears off your screen when you have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm back in the home directory. We see all the stuff that I've got. If I want to move up a level, so we know how to move down, I say cd and then I give it the name of a folder. If I want to move up, I can go cd dot dot, and that moves me back up. So this brings us to another interesting point, which is that we know about the home directory, but we haven't really talked about the root path. You can see here when I went up a level from the home directory, I went into /users. We can even go up again, and we'll be in /. You could also, from anywhere, just say cd/ and it takes you to the root directory. This is stuff that you typically aren't going to mess with. We're normally going to work in the home directory. I say typically, if you're a system administrator or whatever, you'll be messing with this probably a lot, but just doing normal development, I don't normally come in here very often. So anyway, let's cd back down into the home directory, and let me show you how to chain things together. Okay, so from here in the home directory, we can change down into kind of deeper levels. So we could go cd work / Techmaker. So now we're actually in the code for Techmaker. So we could cd down even further, app / models / who knows. So we have some stuff down in here. We can also chain things, like you can get crazy with this with paths. So you could go cd .. / you know, like there's really no limit to how you can chain this stuff together. You can also blend with absolute paths. So you could do cd / so now we're actually giving an absolute path. We have a different starting point. So if you look at the double dot thing, so that's moving you up a directory relative to where you currently are. If we give it the tilde, it goes start at the home directory, so absolute path, and then move from there. So we could go cd tilde / double dot, and that's going to take us to /users. So it goes to tilde, and then it goes up a level. Hopefully that clarifies that for some people who've never seen it before. I know this stuff is a little intimidating when you've never encountered it. Anyway, let's move on, because I know that you're probably bored stiff of watching me just change directories. So let's go back down into the tilde or home directory. Let's get to actually putting some stuff together. So we have another command that we haven't done yet, make directory. So we can actually just make a folder inside of here. So make directory, and then I'm going to call this Bootcamp demo. Okay, so now if we do that, if we ls, we can see that that is somewhere in here. I believe it is. Here, yeah. So, let me clear my screen, it's getting kind of crowded. So now we have this Bootcamp demo, and the way that I'm going to do this, I'm going to create things, and I'm always going to do ls, and you should do that until you get a little more familiar with what you're doing. It just kind of helps you understand what in the world is going on. So we know that there's a Bootcamp demo folder from here, so we can do cd Bootcamp demo, and we're in the Bootcamp demo folder. Now we're going to run some of the stuff that I showed you in the article. So I'm going to clone into the GitHub repo. Okay, so now I've ran that command, and don't worry about exactly what it's doing for now, but just know that, so git pulls down code from out online, and it's cloned it onto your computer, so copied it onto your computer. And so this was an empty folder when we made it, and now if we do ls, it's got you can see here, it's got a Bootcamp directory inside it. So nothing super magical, but we can jump down into this now. And by the way, what I'm doing there, I don't know if you picked up on this, but if you have, so let me go back up. If you have a folder, you can do cd bo and then hit tab, and it will complete it for you. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so now we've got this Bootcamp folder that we pulled down from Git, or from GitHub rather. Now I can do ls and see what's inside here. So we've got this MIT license, this README, this Vagrant file, and this Puppet directory. You don't really need to worry about what any of that is, but that Vagrant file is very important. It's what instructs Vagrant, the software you downloaded, on how to build the virtual machine. Let's run some Vagrant commands here. So we can go Vagrant status, and it's gonna tell me it's default, not created. So we haven't done anything. We haven't set up the virtual machine yet. So we're gonna run this command Vagrant up, and this is amazing. This will, based on your Vagrant file and your Puppet directory that we have in there, it will set up everything for you. And this is gonna take a pretty good while. So I'm gonna jump off and I'll come back whenever it's done. Okay, so my Vagrant machine has finished setting up. You can see there's quite a bit of output. If we run Vagrant status, we can see that it is now running. At this point, what we want to do is actually SSH into the virtual machine. Now, if you've never done this before, that might sound a little scary or mysterious. SSH stands for Secure Shell, and it is a way to log into another computer from your computer. Now, since this is a virtual machine, it's actually living on your computer. I got some questions about, people didn't know where they were going when they did this and stuff. There's nothing to be scared of. It's just a computer running inside your computer. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to run the command Vagrant SSH, and you're going to see that we're going to go into a different computer. So you can look all the stuff we've been doing up here. Sorry if that just made anybody dizzy. If you look up here, you can see we've got Bootcamp demo, and it looks a little different on my computer probably, but it's going to look like, it's on my computer. Down here, you see this welcome to your Vagrant built virtual machine or whatever, and then you have Vagrant at Bootcamp. Yours again may look slightly different, but it should look different than your computer, whatever the case. You can see we have Ubuntu 12.04 LTS running on here. So it's a Linux computer running inside your computer. Alright, now for the moment of truth. So we're going to run Ruby -v, and it tells us we've got Ruby 2.1.1 already installed. And if you see that, then that means you have successfully gotten everything set up so far. So that's pretty much it for this lesson. Before we quit though, I want to go over a couple quick things. So all of that stuff that we did on your computer, which we can call your local computer, the CD, blah blah blah, it works here too. So if you look, we've got this little tilde here. So we're in the home directory right now. So we're same place. We can also do cd/, and we're going to have a root directory, and we can do ls. Now, this is totally different than on my computer, and this shows you that we're definitely on a different computer. So I want you to kind of mess around and just look around this and get familiar with this. Do the same thing on your computer as well. It's just going to really pay off if you kind of have a really good feel for how to get around and where everything is. Another thing is how to get in and out of here. So we can do exit, and that's going to take you back to your computer. To get back, you can do Vagrant SSH, and you're back. So the main point is just learn your way around. In addition, you can do this command Vagrant halt, and it's similar. You can see that it's attempting graceful shutdown of VM. It's the same thing as shutting down your computer, but you're shutting down the virtual computer. And to get it back, you need to go Vagrant up. I think some people have actually ran Vagrant halt and then tried to SSH and been kind of confused because they couldn't go back. Just remember, it's like turning your computer off and turning it back on. You need to actually turn it back on before you can log into it. With that in mind, one last thing that I'm not going to run, you can actually run Vagrant destroy, and it will actually just destroy the computer, and then you can type Vagrant up to rebuild it again, which is really cool in case you mess anything up, but it takes forever to get it back up and running, so I'm not going to do that right now. And that is it. I hope you learned something. Check the comments and the forum if you have any questions or feedback. And thanks for watching.